My name is Jim Ridings, and I was born to live in space. In 1958, before I was born, my father demonstrated an astronaut suit for a town meeting. As a lieutenant in the Marine Corps, he was a naval aviator. They were being told that all aviators would soon be traveling in space. Several years later, I frequently got to sit in the jets he instructed pilots to fly. I grew up in the era when we traded our cowboy toys for astronaut toys, just like the movie Toy Story. However, as I was going to college for a degree in electrical engineering, NASA's Space Shuttle Challenger exploded and shut down the program indefinitely. As a result, my life took a turn and I started a family and pursued a career in the telecom and construction industries. But I continued to talk to anyone who would listen about visions of living in space. My personal mission is to honor God by developing, inspiring, and empowering leaders to grow successful communities throughout the universe. I believe we can start right now toward creating thriving communities of rotational cities as the foundation of interplanetary infrastructure. There are literally no limits. Founders of the National Space Institute and the L5 Society that merged to form the National Space Society, Wernher von Braun and Gerard K. O'Neill, were proponents of the Stanford Toroid Station and the O'Neill Cylinder Station, respectively. This strategy came from asking the question, what's the first step we can take today using existing technologies that are proven and available without the need for long development cycles? Let's go now. The answer is we have everything available now to build the Orbital Yacht Club. I don't have time to go into all the details today. Please go to the website orbitalyachtclub.org for the full presentation or get with me after this session. Let's start with the experience gained from the International Space Station, then add private space yachts from Boeing, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and SpaceX, and combine these with the structure of a 200-meter tall mega Ferris wheel to create the Orbital Yacht Club. Instead of trusses like the mega Ferris wheel, we use cylinders for the structure of the Orbital Yacht Club. This provides a stronger structure and creates enclosed spaces for controlled environments. This commercial space station with private space yacht docking has a 100-meter radius and rotates at 3 rotations per minute to achieve Earth gravity on the blue ring, Mars gravity on the red ring, lunar gravity on the yellow ring, and microgravity on the white rings. Just like existing Earth-bound yacht clubs, the financial investment is shared among the yacht club members, 40 docking ports, making this very affordable for any multi-million-dollar government agency, corporation, partnership, or individual. This creates an affordably spacious platform for science, manufacturing, and vacations. Not only is this useful in low Earth orbit, but also a perfect fit for lunar or Mars gateways and asteroid belt outposts. Today, I'll show you how we can build the Orbital Yacht Club right now with current technology. The blue Earth ring is made of 40 individual modules to be connected on orbit. Each module is made of 16 stainless steel panels, 5 feet wide by 52 feet long, that are welded together to form the outer rings, 8-meter tall by 16-meter long. 4 floor trusses, wall, ceiling, and floor panels for the first and second floors are also assembled on orbit. This provides 2,000 square feet of Earth gravity per module, or 80,000 square feet total. These materials are stowed along the outer walls of the module for delivery to orbit. The inner ring modules are slightly smaller at 7 meters tall by 15 meters long to fit inside like a Russian nesting doll. There are also 40 inner ring modules, 16 for the Mars ring, 8 for the lunar ring, and 16 for the microgravity rings. The 40 elevator modules are smaller still at 6 meters tall by 14 meters long. Then all the ancillary equipment, solar panels, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing fixtures, etc., are placed inside the elevator modules. Adding a collar and a nose cone turns the outer ring into the fairing on top of a Falcon Heavy rocket. Once these are inserted on orbit, the materials are unpacked and assembled using current techniques proven by the International Space Station. You can see the assembly of each module, solar panels, AC condensers, water and air tanks, docking catch arms and ports, and the hub ring maglev rail system. I know this design was inspired by God because with a minimal amount of engineering, all of the pieces formed together perfectly. When I separated the inner rings into 4D modules and made them smaller to fit inside the 40 outer ring modules, they were exactly the right dimensions for Mars gravity and lunar gravity. Then, when I separated the elevator columns into 40 modules, they were exactly the right size to fit inside the 40 inner ring modules. And the weight, when combining each of these three modules with the ancillary equipment, is within the 140-pound limit of the Falcon Heavy. The SpaceX Starship is coming closer to reality each month. It looks like the cargo bay will be large enough to transport the Earth gravity module and will have far more mass to orbit capabilities. As we move closer to the hub rings, we can see the maglev rail system to continue the speed of the rotation on the lunar and microgravity rings. There is a docking port connecting the purple elevator columns to the lunar ring. Here you can see the docking port retracting from the lunar ring into the elevator column. This allows the lunar ring to slow down and match speed with the microgravity ring. Then they dock together for transfer between the rings. Once the transfer is complete, we undock and speed up the lunar ring to match speed with the elevator columns again. For the safest way to dock a space yacht onto this spinning space station, the space yacht arrives on a tangent so it cannot collide with the station or any other yacht. The docking arm extends to capture the space yacht and gently lift it to the docking port. Each docking arm supports two docking ports. If the docking arm misses the space yacht for any reason, the yacht safely travels past the station without a collision. They can circle back for another attempt similar to an airplane or deorbit to splash down safely on Earth. To undock, the process is reversed. The docking arm gently lowers the space yacht and releases it on a tangent away from the space station. Once docked, the passengers arrive directly into their private living quarters through the docking port. Each docking port has access to all the comfort of their Earth gravity and two spacious private rooms, 13.5 feet wide by 20 feet long, for over 300 square feet each. One of the most common reasons people tell me they don't want to vacation in space is because the current and proposed station modules are too small. As you can see, this private room is the same size as a standard hotel room or cruise ship cabin on Earth. This is just one possible layout and can be configured in any way within the 300 square foot room to suit the needs of the Yacht Club members. You can have a full-size living area, desk, kitchen, bathroom, dining area, and two fold-out queen-size Murphy beds, for example. Here's a quick look at the second private room as we move into the hallway. The public hallway goes all the way around the circumference of the outer room to access any private room, and stairways to the second level where public rooms are located. This is just an example of a dining room with a stage for entertainment. I'm not implying any endorsement by the Hard Rock Cafe. Due to the domed ceiling in the cylinder, we can fit a mezzanine level for additional dining tables. Each of the second-story public rooms can be configured as needed. For example, shopping, spas, gymnasiums, medical, dental, and vision facilities, art museums, etc. Just like anything you might find on a cruise ship on Earth. We can move into the next module, which is empty, to show the large 26-foot by 52-foot public rooms, providing over 1,300 square feet each. As we move into one of the elevator modules on the Earth gravity ring, we see a Yacht Club member jumping to show the effects of Earth gravity. I hope they have good elevator music. She moves up the purple elevator column to the red Mars ring and steps into the hallway to show how high she can jump, since Mars gravity is only 38% of Earth gravity. Then we move into the adjacent module to show the spacious 1,100 square foot room on the second level. The first level has a smaller room with 900 square feet due to the cylindrical shape of the module. These rooms can be configured in any way to support vacation, science, and manufacturing activities. Here, astronauts can train for a mission on Mars with actual Mars gravity, not a simulation. Vacationers can operate modules of Curiosity and Perseverance rovers as part of a hands-on science center exhibit. We go back to the elevator to move up to the lunar gravity ring, and we see our yacht club member jumping in lunar gravity. At 16% of Earth gravity, we may not want to have 2 floors because you'd constantly be hitting your head on the ceiling. Each module will have an airlock door similar to what you see on airplanes. In the event of an air leak on any module, it can be sealed off from the rest of the station while repairs are being made. This is another safety feature, making the station very robust against the hostile environment of the vacuum of space. She travels up a ladder to move through the docking port attached to the microgravity ring. We enter into the microgravity ring through a docking port from the lunar gravity ring. These modules can be configured in any way to support science, manufacturing, or vacation activities. You get a sense of the amazing capacity with each of 16 modules providing over 1,000 cubic meters for a total of more than 16,000 cubic meters of microgravity. Compare that to the total of all modules combined on the ISS at 935 cubic meters. Have you ever imagined what you would do while vacationing on the ISS or similarly sized proposed orbital hotels? Sure, we'll fly like Superman, do a flip, and drink a bubble of water. But what can you do after those 15 minutes are over? Here, there's enough room to play zero-gravity volleyball or soccer, or watch zero-gravity ballet or Cirque du Soleil. People who vacation on Earth, like a Caribbean island, might spend the first week training for scuba certification, then go scuba diving in crystal clear waters. Imagine taking classes on the Orbital Yacht Club for extravehicular activity certification and going on a zip line outside the Orbital Yacht Club. This is the spiral staircase going around the elevator shaft. You can take the stairs all the way from the Earth ring through the Mars ring into the lunar ring, or just step out into the elevator and be transported to each level. There are 6 green elevator columns dedicated to farming, leaving 2 purple elevators for travel between gravity zones. On either side of the 6 columns, there's over 250 square feet where we could keep a chicken coop, a pigsty, or a dairy barn to make fresh bacon, egg, and cheese omelet for breakfast. Inside each column are variable height layers for the different heights of plants, including corn, rice, wheat, lettuce, tomato, cucumber, onions, carrots, potatoes, watermelon, strawberries, and so on. The LED grow lights, water misters, and temperature controls provide the perfect environment for high-yield crops to support the entire population of the Orbital Yacht Club with farm fresh food. That covers the architecture and operations of the entire Orbital Yacht Club station. You can see it is spacious enough to support 320 people who live, work, and play on orbit. Let's go now. Let's look into the future at how we might expand to an O'Neill cylinder. Starting with the experience gained in the Orbital Yacht Club and combining it with the size of a mega cruise ship that supports 9,000 people, we create an orbital cruise ship. With the infrastructure of the Orbital Yacht Club in low Earth orbit comes the opportunity to grow and mature while living and working in outer space. We'll send an Orbital Yacht Club to a near-Earth asteroid and learn how to mine and manufacture materials in outer space, eliminating the expense of launching all the materials from Earth. As a result, we can build larger structures cost-effectively. This shows the scale of the orbital cruise ship compared to the Orbital Yacht Club. With a radius of 225 meters, we can create 1 g of gravity with 2 rotations per minute that is unnoticeable to humans. The side view shows how each room is stacked together. These are 7-meter cubes stacked 3 high by 22 wide, providing a honeycomb structure, making a sturdy hull for the ship far beyond the engineering requirements. This creates a controlled environment that is 1.4 kilometers in circumference, 6 stories tall, and 176 meters wide. That's 2.6 million square feet per floor. By enclosing the front and back with large domes, we can maintain 1 atmosphere of pressure in the middle, creating 60-acre nature reserve on top of the 6-story hall. We can partition sections into separate climate zones to maintain different ecosystems found on Earth. We also have micro-G modules. These small ones for private use can be reserved, maybe for a romantic evening with your spouse. The medium rooms can support groups of people who may create a zero-gravity laser tag auditorium. The larger ones can be used for manufacturing, or can you imagine watching a professional zero-gravity football game? Then we have these cylinders for lunar and Mars gravity zones. The science, training, educational, and vacation applications of these are invaluable. Here's an animation of Kalpana 1, designed by the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. It's a good example, similar to the 60-acre nature reserve on the Orbital cruise ship. You can see it is an expansive outdoor area that eliminates cabin fever. There are forests, trees, and other plants producing oxygen. There are farms, ranches, and zoos. I envision these located inside the buildings you see here, since all of our buildings for people are contained in the 6-story hull of the ship. So instead of making these look like buildings on the outside, we can make them look like hills and mountains for parks. There's pools, streams, and lakes, and even sports fields or amphitheaters. Then we expand from an orbital cruise ship to an orbital city, which is the vision I had 35 years ago for a permanent human settlements in outer space. This one has a radius of 1 kilometer and is 3 kilometers wide. That creates over 4,600 acres for nature reserve and each floor of the 20-story hull. Finally, we expand from a city to a metropolis by creating entire fleets of orbital cities in different sizes, providing the interplanetary infrastructure needed to colonize the solar system. Proliferating these fleets throughout the solar system will support billions, if not trillions, of people populating our entire solar system. Then we'll set our sights on Proxima Centauri, our nearest neighboring solar system. There are literally no limits. By living in these man-made cities, we will protect our moons and planets from the biggest harmful contaminant of all, humans. Using only existing technologies that are off the shelf, we come back to the Orbital Yacht Club for a look at the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, propulsion, and communication systems needed for full operation. 78,000 square feet can be added with an additional ring at a 91-meter radius to provide Venus gravity. Several of these modules can be used for science, manufacturing, and tourist areas. On the rest, we can add farming shelves, multiplying each square foot to provide additional acreage for farming food to support 320 people. This would also provide enough space for raising and butchering beef, pork, and poultry, not to mention tanks for salmon, trout, and shrimp for seafood production. Let's go now. There's so much more I can tell you about the Orbital Yacht Club, so get with me after the session or go to the website orbitalyachtclub.org. The worst feedback I receive is when people say, great idea, but it'll never happen in my lifetime. The Orbital Yacht Club can be built starting today with existing off-the-shelf components. Let's go now. I'm looking for a champion who can bring together a coalition of billionaire government agencies, corporations, partnerships, or individuals who would like their own private orbital yacht with a docking port on the Orbital Yacht Club that has all the luxury, safety, and utility we've come to expect in our lives. Thank you.